Good morning and welcome back to Granted Gardens. My name is Melissa and today we are out in the garden. It's been a bit of a crazy week. So a couple of videos ago I talked to you guys a little bit about how I was feeling and what has been going on in our lives. Obviously we are planning a wedding, and for anyone that has done that, that is very stressful and extremely time consuming. On top of that, we both work 9 to 5s, which our jobs are very demanding and tend to fluctuate a lot. We're either, having to go places on a whim, or we're planning stuff and it falls through, or, I travel for work. That takes the large majority of our time and attention and patience and energy. So unfortunately, some of the stuff that we really enjoy doing tends to get put on the back burner. We try to tend to the garden as much as possible, but it can't always be a daily thing. We are definitely in the point of where the garden is needing daily attention. So a little backstory. This past weekend, initially we had planned for me to go to Michigan to visit my family for a bridal shower. And for reasons that were completely out of everyone's control, we had to cancel. And it was quite devastating, but that's the world we live in. And it was okay though, because my family 120% pulled through for me. And my cousins and my aunt and my cousin's son, my second cousin, came out, surprised me, and my mom and them threw me a virtual wedding shower at my parents' house, which was awesome, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was so awesome. I'm looking at this. Do you see? I got bugs. I got little bean bugs, yellow caterpillar things. Anyways, so it was amazing. Everyone that was able to attend, jumped on, and so my mom's family threw me this virtual wedding shower, and we were able to open presents, and we were able to do it all together, and we were able to spend time with those that could make it out here, and it was absolutely perfect, and it really lifted my spirits. So I'm feeling much better right now. I also had taken time off of work to go on this trip, and now we're not going, so I actually have time to spend in the garden, which also makes me happy. So I'm taking a few days here to just enjoy this. So this morning I came out, was checking on everything. I had to tie up some of my tomatoes on the deck because the potted tomatoes had gotten so big they were falling over. And so I got those all tended to, and then I decided to do a quick walk through the garden, got to the beans, stopped and stayed here for a hot second. I once again did not have my basket. I need to break that habit, but picked a ton of beans, and so this is something that we're having to process on a daily basis. Tyler's beds are doing awesome. This is actually the beans that are coming from his bed. Everything in his bed is doing exceptionally better than everything else in the garden. So whatever he did it right, but I know he did a lot. And I think he shared all that with you guys along the way. So today I'm just gonna do a quick kind of walkthrough of the garden and kind of point out a few things that aren't working so well, and some things that are working so well, and things that I'm getting ready to tear up and replace. I started about 2 weeks ago some new seeds, so those need to get out. A lot of them are going to refill the green stalk on the deck. It's a lot of lettuce because our lettuce tends to bolt really quickly this time of year because it's so hot. So I'm going to take you guys for a quick walk around. Now for the wedding shower, we got a lot of stuff, decorations and stuff for the garden, which was awesome because people know us. So I'm excited to work on those today as well. I want to get them kind of all out. Maybe I'll get some shots for you guys. I am pulling some plants that are just on their way out, feeding the chickens. So the chickens are getting chicken snacks. They're happy. We do have an update on the chickens that I have not shared with you guys yet. Again, we've just been busy. So unfortunately, we no longer have any roosters. For those of you that have been following along, bear with me. I'm going to update those that may not have been here because we've gotten quite a few new subscribers. So we started out with chickens, and we got them from southern states, and we got 8 chickens. We had 7 girls and 1 rooster. Moving on from there, the rooster started getting really rough with the girls, so we knew he was on his way out. And ironically enough, the week before we decided to butcher him, we had a hen go broody, and so she actually hatched 2 eggs from our flock. We were really excited about that because we had to butcher the first rooster, but we knew that we had new life coming, and that was really exciting. So come to find out, the 2 eggs that she hatched were both roosters. So we ended up with 2 roosters, and then our 7 hens. From that point, we did have a few losses throughout the process, which does happen when you're homesteading. And the roosters, once they kind of came to age, started getting really rough, and having 2 roosters and 7 hens was not a good mix. The girls were getting pretty badly beat up on, so we decided we'd get rid of 1. From there, we kept 1 rooster in hopes that we'd be able to hatch more babies. Once we got to the point of that rooster getting really into himself, he was beating up again on the girls, and we recognized it was time for him to go. Well, we had shared that we had a broody hen, or so we thought. We had a broody hen that we were hoping we could do kind of the same thing that we did last time, where we could just hatch out new babies after we butcher the rooster. And she wasn't really sticking with the eggs. She was kind of bouncing around, and it wasn't to the point where any of them were going to be able to hatch. So we had to butcher that last rooster. So that's news to you guys. We haven't shared that yet. We did that a few weeks ago, and come to find out, Mama wasn't broody. I think that she's just, I don't know, she seems like maybe she's kind of aching getting around a little bit, and it's hard for her to jump up on top of the roosts in the coop. So we're thinking maybe she was just laying in the nesting boxes, because that was really the only place she could get to. So we are significantly down on chickens this year. We are down to 5 chickens. All hens though, which is good news. Everyone seems to be doing great. They're recuperating from the rooster damage, but everyone seems to be doing really, really well. So that's where we're at. We're down to 5, and right now we don't have any plans to change that. We'll see, maybe next spring, but right now we're gonna just stick with these ones. Another update here on the pepper bed. I had shared in videos that I was a little concerned about what was going on here. They all are still very, very small, but we are getting flowers and peppers, so I have hope still. We've got quite a few volunteers. There's a volunteer tomato that popped up in here. We're gonna leave him. There's another volunteer tomato that popped up because I did use our homemade compost in here, which we're getting all kinds of stuff. There's more tomatoes, and this is probably some kind of squash. I am going to pull those up though. I'm not going to let them go. I figured that spot back there, what I had planted, died off, so we'll just let them guys go. Some of them look better than others, but I'm a little concerned. Potential thought process here. There's been a lot of talk this year about contaminated soil. I don't know. It is what it is. I'm not sure if that's the case. It's just ironic that this was the only bed that I did end up adding soil to. Everyone else stayed the same from last year. Everyone else is doing great. This one's a little behind. So, I don't know, but it's a thought. Here's my tomatoes. These have become a daily process of just trying to keep them tied up and pruned back. Looks like I've got a stem here I got to deal with. I do like to heavily prune. Number 1, because I pack my tomatoes in here. Number 2, because if I don't prune, that can just increase the issues as far as blight, mold, mildew, stuff like that. But I also like to prune so that I can actually get in here and get to the back ones. Try to keep it thinned out pretty well. This is our Pride and Joy arch for the moment. These are a mix of different kinds of beans. At one point they were just one kind of bean, but I ended up throwing a variety in here just because some of them weren't doing too hot. But this is what I've been picking from today. Beans were high on our priority list because we wanted to make sure that we were able to can a lot, and we're doing pretty good. We're doing pretty good. The other section of beans here, I would have probably done a few things differently. So you can see my row of bean bushes along the side here. Honestly, if I could have done something differently, I would have put more. We probably really could have crammed in, like, instead of just having these two, we could have probably done two or three more in this section. Beans do all right touching each other, so there's a lot of space here. I really could have filled in. I did kind of start putting more beans in here. I'm going to try and do a second row so that we can continue to pick, because you can see these guys kind of on their way out. So I'm going to try and do a second row here. Okra is just a problem for me. I'm going to be honest. It's just not my plant. I tried planting started okra over here, and that didn't pan out. I tried direct sowing, that didn't pan out, and then I had started more okra from seed in like a seed growing station and then moved it out here, and I put two out here. It looks like there's only one that's still alive and it's not doing much. So there's my little tiny okra plant. I don't know if you can see, but right here, that's the leftovers of the last one. It's not meant to be. I suppose there's always next year. My Swiss chard's doing awesome though. It's looking like we are going to be having vegetarian lasagna at some point this week. That is my most favorite thing to do with Swiss chard, is vegetarian lasagna. Love it. So good. Tyler was right about the Brussels sprouts. They're getting all eat up. I don't even think there's a chance for them anymore. So that happened. But hey, you know, sometimes you have to give a couple plants to the bugs so they leave everything else alone. And we've been picking cucumbers. And I've been making pickles. The peas are dying off, and quite frankly, they don't even taste that good anymore. So these guys are probably coming out today. Might direct sow more and see how that goes. It is pretty though, isn't it? I do love it in here. Mornings are by far my favorite time to come out here. Number one, because when the sun comes out, it gets hot. Number two, it's just so pretty. Like with the sun running through the trees, it's nice, it's calm, it's quiet for the most part, but it's definitely getting hot. So another thing that I did this weekend, when I found out that the shower was canceled, I reached out to my local farmer and I said, hey, I got some spare time on my hands this weekend. Can I get some tomatoes in bulk from you? And they came through. I got 4 big boxes of tomatoes and I started canning. But then obviously surprises happened and I didn't finish quite yet, but the goal is to try and finish this weekend. I don't know. I spent a lot of time the other day on them and I got through a box and a half. And I think I'm at like 17 jars, quart-sized jars of canned tomatoes, so we'll see. Raspberries have quickly become a favorite of mine. I think I like them better than the blackberries. They're sweeter and they don't have quite as much of a like zing to them as the blackberries do, but I wouldn't have known because it's my first year ever growing them. And then back here by our compost is the berries that we have growing wild. I don't have the name to them quite now. They look like raspberries, but they're much smaller. I'm gonna have to see if I can find the name to them. But aren't they cool? They're also really good. They're a little zingier than raspberries though. Gotta come back here with a basket. I love raspberries. My goodness. They're so good. So glad we have them this year. Well, actually, I think that's gonna be a wrap for today. I am going to try and get some of these plants planted, and then maybe get some of the garden decorations from the wedding shower up. That will probably be in a separate video though. So as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I look forward to sharing more with you soon.